The following is a way too early prediction by two Marvel fanboys for a game that has absolutely no gameplay to justify their predictions. Enjoy.
Marvel's Wolverine has a real chance to be a masterpiece and really one of the biggest superhero games ever made. I know a statement like that probably isn't all that surprising coming from someone like me who primarily covers Marvel games and for the most part, not always, but has really enjoyed the majority of Marvel game releases. But regardless of my bias towards Marvel games, please allow me just a few minutes to give you my pitch as to why Marvel's Wolverine has the potential to be a real masterpiece of a game and likely one of the biggest PS5 games. Let's just go ahead and start with the timing of this game. It's pretty likely that Marvel's Wolverine will be aiming for a release date within the next 2 years, and it couldn't be coming out at a better time. The love for X-Men and Wolverine is at an all-time high right now. X-Men 97 really fueled the resurgence for X-Men and in particular Logan. Before X-Men 97, there was a large gap in between X-Men content for some time since the franchise was bought out by Disney, but we are finally getting some quality X-Men content for the first time in years. X-Men 97 was a huge success, and now we have even more hype surrounding the character of Wolverine with the imminent release of Deadpool and Wolverine. Seeing Hugh Jackman in that classic yellow and blue suit has Wolverine fans extremely hyped. If that film is as good as it looks like it's going to be, then the hype for a Wolverine game will be at an all-time high if you ask me. Now this of course isn't a reason why the game will be good, but it could be a reason as to why it will become a great seller for the PS5. But next I have to talk about the most obvious reason why this game really has a chance to be a real masterpiece, and that is Insomniac Games' track record with Marvel. They have absolutely delivered on every one of their Spider-Man games, which if you ask me is likely a big reason why Marvel Games had the confidence in giving Insomniac Games a crack at a Wolverine game. They knew that by giving Insomniac Wolverine that they would be limiting their release to only PS5 owners, and they chose to still do it anyways. This shows how much confidence Marvel Games has in Insomniac Games. And all of that confidence is completely warranted considering they have delivered 3 epic Marvel games, and they have all been critical and financial successes. But speaking of track records, we also have to talk about the creative director of Marvel's Wolverine, Brian freaking Horton. If that name sounds familiar, it's because he was also the creative director of Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales, a game that was super successful and really was instrumental in setting up the character of Miles Morales for Spider-Man 2. Brian Horton really showed us that he understood the character of Miles, and he delivered in a huge way, while also trying to make a shorter game. But now he has the ability to take on a character that he really seems passionate about, and this time it's going to be a full-length game. I cannot wait to see what he is able to do with this one. Having Brian Horton on this project gives me all the confidence in this world that this game is really going to be a good one. But in case I haven't been able to convince you that Marvel's Wolverine by Insomniac Games has a great chance to be a masterpiece, then let me throw it over to my friend and special guest on today's video, Evan Filarca, to give us his thoughts on Marvel's Wolverine. Evan, the floor is yours.
What's up, true believers? Hopefully you're all having a fantastic day, and thank you once again to the one and only Keenan for inviting me to collab on his absolutely amazing channel. Because getting hyped for all these incredibly exciting upcoming Marvel games is what we do best. And if you want to hear Keenan and I talk about even more Marvel games, then definitely make sure to stop by over on my channel, where we fully dive into why exactly we desperately need a AAA standalone Venom game. But for the case of our main man Logan, Wolverine is an incredibly interesting character to fully provide his own solo game. Insomniac Games have already fully proven themselves with their previous Marvel game outings with the entire Marvel Spider-Man franchise. So knowing that they're going to be pouring that same exact amount of heart and soul into a character like Wolverine, is simply going to be utterly jaw-dropping. But to elaborate upon exactly why that's going to be the case, there is quite a lot of info that we know about Marvel's Wolverine that already paints a pretty clear picture. Where most importantly is that Wolverine is not Spider-Man, and Insomniac already knows full well to make that distinction as obvious as possible. This doesn't only relate to the characters themselves and exactly how different their individual stories will be, but also in terms of their core gameplay mechanics and how exactly Logan will fight and traverse in comparison to Peter Parker, as well as his spectacular protege with Miles Morales, which the game's main creative director of Brian Horton already has an extreme amount of deep appreciation for. And the same logic applies to Wolverine, because unlike Spider-Man's more stylish and fluid combat system, as well as utilizing extra abilities like that of gadgets, Wolverine is a much more direct, brutal, and hands-on fighter, especially with the biggest trademark of Wolverine's combat, none other than his adamantium claws, where Logan is more than likely going to be slicing and dicing through all his enemies. So it is going to be very interesting to see how exactly Logan's core combat system with his claws is fully going to differentiate from Spider-Man's more acrobatic style, where I actually think that Wolverine might have a leg up over Spider-Man, considering that instead of Insomniac trying to spread out their development to utilize all these different attributes for Spider-Man's combat system, all they really have to focus on for Wolverine is immensely visceral hand-to-hand combat. And above all else is obviously making the claws the most fun ability possible to use during combat. And to remind all of you, is that Insomniac knows full well just how vicious of a character Wolverine can be, which is why they've already officially confirmed that Marvel's Wolverine is going to be a much more darker tone game in comparison to their previous Spider-Man titles, which in this case more than likely implies a solid M rating, which I think is the best possible route that Insomniac could go down in order to provide die-hard Wolverine fans with the most definitive Wolverine gaming experience possible. But on top of providing Wolverine with a thoroughly savage combat system, as well as a much darker and grimmer tone, the biggest attribute that people are going to be playing the game for is to experience an incredibly personal and detailed Logan story. And seeing how well Insomniac have already handled the narrative within the previous Spider-Man games with Peter Parker, Miles Morales, as well as their entire Rogues gallery, I have no doubt in my mind that Wolverine is going to receive that exact same treatment. And if Insomniac plays their cards right, this could easily end up being their most emotional story throughout all their previous Marvel games. But with all that said, we're just gonna have to wait and see as to what exactly Insomniac is cooking by the time they fully showcase Weapon X in action. And I know for a fact that Keenan and I cannot wait.
Thank you again, Evan, for being on the channel and giving us your thoughts on Marvel's Wolverine. Again, this is just a way too early rambling on why we think the game is going to be great. I hope you guys did enjoy today's video. Be sure to subscribe to Evan's channel and my channel as well, as we will likely continue to cover Marvel's Wolverine as more news gets released to the public. If you did enjoy today's video, be sure to leave a thumbs up and go check out Evan's channel. We also have another collab that we'll be posting on his channel as well. Thank you guys as always for watching, and I will catch you guys on the next one.